crown. So we'll just put Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to North Carolina, another warm day. The sun is out, the sky is blue, and today we are going to be putting on our creativity hat. So we are going to be planting peonies, oriental lilies, and irises. And this planter, as a creative exercise and what to do with some plants. So I had this idea about just putting all these plants together. And I'm also gonna add, I believe, some carnations and some coleus, and I may even add some nasturtiums around the edge. And they're all gonna go into this 22-inch planter, and we're gonna do this together. And yeah, hopefully in a few months, when everything grows and blooms, you'll get to see this beautiful display. But yeah, plants are wonderful to have around. Except they bring in pollinators and they just look cool. They look beautiful. And they add some spots of interest to your home. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I have my planter here, and I originally was going to drill through it, but apparently there are like a little tabs that I can punch through, and it's working. That will give drainage holes. Now the interesting thing is that these holes are kind of small. I'll get up here and show you. They're kind of small. According to what I read online, you want at least 1-inch holes, and these are definitely not 1-inch holes, but maybe they know something I don't know. So the first thing we want to do is to kind of figure out my depths, because I have 3 different types of flowers. I think one is planted to a depth of 6 inches. One is planted to a depth of 1 inch, and then one is planted to a depth of 4 inches. So I want to kind of figure out how deep this planter is. So it's about 14 and a half inches high. So the depth that I'm looking for, I'm just going to rearrange this. So the depth, so 14 minus 6 gives us 8. It's about 14 and a half inches. So 14 minus 6 is going to be 8. And so the lowest depth for my first flower is going to be right there around that ring. That's about 7.5, 8 inches. So I'm going to aim to start putting in my potting soil to about that height, and then I will probably do my first bulb, and then the other one was what, 4 inches? No, 6, 4. So that's about 10 inches. So about 2 inches above that is going to be where I'll do my next set of bulbs. I'm going to try to just do a little line here. So 10. Well, we also want to, yeah, this is, I guess, right at 14. So, I don't know what y'all are seeing, but it's right at 14. Probably, I guess I'll go up to the top. So that's about 8, 10, and then what is that, 12, right about there. So I've just did a couple of markings just to give me a visual representation of where they should be. All right, so the next step is just to start with the soil. Um, and for this, I've seen different recommendations about whether or not to put, you know, sand or rocks in the bottom. Um, I'm not going to do it for this. I'm just going to use soil. And we will learn what is best. I'm just going to drop the soil in here. All right, I'll put the entire bag in here. And that's just one bag. And the step before getting started is to make sure you have all your tools. And it looks like I left my gloves in the house. So I'm actually going to go get my gloves and I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. So I got my gloves. Can obviously do this without gloves. I'm just wearing gloves today. Just break up these big clumps. And this soil does look really, really good. It's dark. There are some big chunks of, I think, wood or something. But it'll be fine. Just going to toss this around, make sure it's nice and loose. And for the record, I've done, I think, a tulip bulb or two many, many years ago. But this is my first year actually like doing bulbs. And so kind of learning as I go. So I think that's good for new gardeners to know because, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. Just get out here and start working and read the instructions and follow them the best you can. And for the most part, plants are pretty resilient things and they'll want to grow. That's their goal in general is to grow and bloom and to propagate themselves. So they have a desire to live and you have a desire to work. So it should be fine. We're going to add a little bit more. I'm going to change the angle here. So the 8-inch line is right about there. No, the 6-inch line about there. That's 4. And then this right here is 2. So I'm going a little bit higher. And I'm just going to reread the instructions to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly. And I believe the flowers that prefer 6 inches is the lily. So I'm just going to reread the instructions. Make sure you read your instructions so you know what you're supposed to be doing. So, yes, the ones that are going to be 6 inches deep are my lilies. So I have my lilies here. I reread the instructions. We're going to get another bag of soil. Right, so I think that's probably enough. And so reading the instructions, lilies prefer well-drained soil. They prefer to be in clusters. One idea that I kind of did think about was maybe I should just fill the whole thing up initially and then dig down. That way I kind of know where everything is, but I'm not going to do that. And lilies prefer to be planted in clusters, it says. And I have a total of 6 in here. So we'll just do 2 clusters of 3. And this is what they look like. So the roots are on the bottom. I guess this right here is the crown. So we'll just put 1. And that's with the crown up. 2. And this is a big one. It's already starting to grow, you guys. That maybe should be higher. And then same thing with this one. 1. This one looks kind of not okay. Looks kind of sick. So that's 3. That's 6 total. So we got our lilies in there. And so we are going to go up to our next marker, which is the 4-inch mark. And then at the 4-inch mark, we are going to add our irises. And our, I think our lilies, are the lilies the tallest one? Let's see. So the lilies can get to be the tallest. So maybe I should move some of these to the center if they're going to be the tallest. But no, we'll just do this. We'll just do this. So let's add our soil. And what I'm going to do is just to make sure that the lilies stay in the right orientation, I'm just going to cover them up gently with my hand, covering them. I'm not just going to dump it over them because I don't want them to get turned over. Apparently, if they do get turned over, it'll still be fine. Like, it's not like they can't rewrite themselves or update or reorient themselves. So it's not a big deal, I don't think. But hey, let's increase the likelihood of success. That's the most important thing. So we're just going to cover those. So now that those are covered, add some more soil in. Like I said, we're going up to the 4-inch mark. Let's kind of keep, let's try to stay aware of where we planted our original one. So we did, so if this is a clock, 12, was that 4? No, 12, 3, 6, 9. So we did it at 3 and 9. Yeah. We planted at 3 and 9. Our lilies. And that's just because, you don't really want to, and I think I added probably too much soil. It's probably over the 4-inch mark. But whatevs. We can put them into a hole. So let's see. Probably a little bit higher actually, because that's about 4 inches. So I have a little bit further to go. So this is about 4 inches. And at 4 inches, we are going to do our irises. So I'm just gonna read over the instructions, make sure I'm doing everything okay. All right, so our irises are gonna be about plants are 4 inches deep. It says that once they're planted, um, it should be about one plant per square foot. So this pot is like 22 inches. Based off the math that I did a couple of days ago, it's like about 2.5 square feet. So we can really probably fit 2 of these in here theoretically. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put all 4 in here. And it says plant 4 inches deep. The crown should be 1 inch below the soil surface and fill around the roots. So let's actually see what these look like. I'm not for sure what these are gonna look like. Some things are a bulb, like what we just did. And then some of them you get like a root or something. So let's see what these look like. I'm gonna open these up. All right, guys, so I got it open. I'm just gonna pull this out and see what it looks like. Looks like leaves or something. Is there 4 in here? What is this? This looks like the roots. That looks like the roots to me. Let's see what we're looking at here. No, and maybe, I think it's gonna be like this. Can y'all see that? So I think it's gonna look like this. Yeah, I think it's gonna look like this. I think this is the way it's supposed to look because we kind of have leaves right here. And this actually is gonna go, this is actually gonna be probably right at the top of the pot. And it says on these instructions that the crown should be about 1 inch below the soil surface. Fill around the roots to ground level. So these are probably the roots. This is the crown. And I'm just going to bring out, this. So that's going to be right at the ground level. I don't know where the crown is. So we're going to place this just a little bit deep. Since there's only 1 in here, I am just going to put this in the middle. It's going to be the center of our clock, okay, you guys? And I'm going to take a picture of this because the reality is that I don't know if this is the way that's supposed to look. So I only got this in the package. It says there's supposed to be 4, so I don't know if all 4 are together, but that certainly looks like one plant to me, and there's supposed to be 4. So I'm going to stop the video, take a screenshot of this, and then continue. All right, you guys, so we are back. So that leaves our peonies. So our peonies are going to be planted to a depth of 1 inch. Essentially, we're going to only have like, what, 1 bulb per square foot. And it says the place roots down and sprouts facing up, covered with soil. Those are the main things. So just 1 inch. So we're going to go up to here. That was 4. This was 1. I probably can't see that. All right. So this was like 4. So this is where our irises are. Next is our peonies, which I think was right about here. The mark is kind of not visible anymore. So we're going to go ahead and fill in some, and then we're going to plant our peonies. And one thing I forgot to mention is that I found some more bulbs from like earlier this year. If I can find them now. And they're either alliums or they are hyacinths. I don't know, don't remember which one. I'm pretty sure they're alliums that we're also going to plant in here, which is might be entirely too many plants, but likewise, it may turn out looking good. You don't know. You will have to see. And again, I'm just going to feel around this bulb because I don't really want to knock it over or anything. I hope this grows. Oh no. I don't know if those leaves should be up or down. In any case, we're just going to feel around it. All right, and now we're going to put, then we can kind of load in this soil. The other tip is to move this to the final place you're going to have it before you get started. So I'm going to try to lift this up and move it right quick. It's not supposed to be here. And our final location. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plant these other. So we have 12, 3, and 9. So 3 and 9 are where we planted our first group of plants at. This is our next. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and plant whatever these are, whether or not they're alliums or either alliums or hyacinths. The hyacinth period has already passed because what I planted in other areas of the garden have already grown. So I'm just going to put these in here. And those are approximately going to be at, I don't know, these look like garlic, to be honest with you. So that's going to be in the center. I think that'll be fine. So we'll do it like that. And this is going to be overly full, but hey, that's okay. We don't know what's going to grow, what's not. And then our peonies. All right, so guys, at this point, so we have 3. My microphone went out, and so I'm just going to kind of walk you through my process of what I think I was thinking at this point. But we are just going to be looking here and seeing exactly what happens. So it looks like I'm adding some more soil, maybe filling up a little bit higher so that I can go ahead and plant those peonies or peonies that I had been on planting. And so the gist of what happens in this situation is I open it up and I notice that it looks like nothing that I've ever seen before. It literally looks like little dried twigs. And so I figured that I could look at the instructions and figure out what was going on. But when I looked at it, it just looked like 2 ways north. Like I couldn't really figure out what part was the root, what part was the stem. There are little roots coming from everywhere. And I think at some point I'm going to show an up close of it. You can just see me looking at it confused. just looking at it, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And you can kind of see there that there's just a lot of little straggling roots everywhere. And I kind of place it around. I can't really figure out what's going on. I probably should have watched another YouTube video about how to plant these, or at least read about it online. But when you are in the situation, you're just used to what you're used to, and so I just figure this should be like any other, situation. And so I think I actually choose to just go ahead and plant it. But then the better thought I decide is to actually look up what exactly I should be looking for, because I'm pretty sure those cost somewhere between what, $10 or $20. And I think I only got four. And so I definitely did not want those to go to waste. And so what we're going to see is that I'm just going to pause it at this point and just go ahead and Google it. Bulb starting to burst, if you will, and it is just like a little stalk coming out. So that's the only way I can describe it. So I did look it up, and that's what I discovered. And so now I'm putting it in the ground correctly. So it's important, if you don't know, to look it up. And honestly, when I was looking at the instructions, it literally looked like, you know, branches going both ways. So I really couldn't figure it out. So the key to planting peonies are the eyes. And at this point, I'm just trying to figure out, how many I'm going to put in. I think I got four. The planter is already somewhat full with bulbs. And I think at this point, I just decide, you know what, I'm just going to do two. These are going to grow. They're going to get big. We have some other stuff we're going to plant. It's going to be pretty full. And I didn't mention this, but some of these bulbs, they will spread. So we want to make sure that you give them enough room to, remain disease free, and then also to spread if they're going to spread. So at this point, I'm just filling up, breaking up the soil, getting ready to water everything in, covering everything up. Everything's coming together. And there you go. I'm going to save those last two peonies bulbs to put somewhere else in the yard. Um, 45 days to bloom. And so these seeds, I believe, are pretty small. And so I just, added a few. Carnation, I believe the seeds were a little bit larger. And so I'm just going to kind of figure out, where do I want these to go? Because you want things to be lush and full, but you don't want them to be overcrowded. I've never grown either one of these two plants before, so I'm not for sure exactly what the growth is going to be like, what the growth success, like seed germination rate, is going to be like. So I just sprinkle them around. I believe those were a quarter of an inch deep, so that's right near the surface. The carnations were a little bit deeper, and so I did try to put these in actual holes. But and again, just trying to figure out where everything goes. Some of this may be off because I'm pretty sure that when I moved that planter, that everything wasn't in the right orientation. So we'll see how everything comes up. But I'm just spreading things around. I think the carnations probably get about a similar height as maybe the peonies that were growing. So we'll see how they look. But if you saw the image of them before I planted them, they are kind of similar in style and look to the carnations, and the peonies look similar. So hopefully that will be a good combination. But we'll see in a few months. thing comes out well, packing everything up, clean up your space when you're done. All right, YouTube. I'm actually pretty disappointed that this part did not get recorded because I thought I had some really inspirational things to say, but let's re-record it. Let's try again. So we planted some irises, we planted some peonies, we planted some lilies. The whole goal for today was to get outside and be creative, get in the sun, feel the soil, get a little bit wet, and do something creative with our time. And that's kind of what I feel I did. Hopefully everything turns out well. Hopefully everything got planted appropriately and correctly. But it's all about trying, it's all about doing it. And so hopefully you will join with me in this journey to see how this turns out. I'm looking forward to seeing the 2 to 3 foot tall plants. I'm looking forward to seeing the nasturtiums hopefully growing over the container side. I think it's going to add a lot of beauty to the home. I think it's going to provide hopefully some ground cover, but provide some nutrition for like the birds and the insects and all that other kind of stuff. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully this influences you, maybe, or maybe not inspires you, but hopefully inspires you to get outside and do your own creative expression. This is something I wanted to do for a long time. I finally got around to doing it, and it's done. So now I just have to sit and I just have to wait and pray that everything turns out right. So I hope you like, I hope you subscribe, and I hope you continue to watch as we take this journey to see how this turns out. Hopefully, like I said, everything turns out well. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you can go ahead and plant your own bulbs somewhere. If you don't have a big yard, we all don't. You can start in a pot. And that's all you have to do. A pot, some soil, and a little bit of time, and you can have your own creative experience. So go out and make it a great day. Get out in that garden and let's grow together.